Hello, everyone. Thank you for letting me spend a few minutes with you today. I'm going to look at something most of you probably never thought about. Okay. But first, gotta give you the reminder, do the like, share, subscribe, notification things. You gotta say it. You gotta say it, right? When I don't, I get reminded. I get reminded by people when I don't advertise the books that are available at authorjerrymitchell.com, or you can go to givegod90.com and follow the links from there. Getting the advertisements out of the way. Get them done early, right? Something people don't think about, and it started to really show it. Well, it shows itself. It started to show itself almost 2 weeks ago. Because about 2 weeks ago or so, something happened that had never happened before, apparently. President Trump, in a proclamation for the Jewish Heritage Month, included in that proclamation that all Americans should observe and celebrate Shabbat. Now, it seems that it has two completely opposite responses. And that's weird, right? That in itself is weird. Why are some Jewish and Christian people really, really happy and celebrating? Look at this. Look at this. It's wonderful. The president is saying we should observe a Sabbath. And other people are upset. Why? Well, because, to put it bluntly, there are some rabbis who are saying, oh, no. Shabbat is just for the Jews. Why? Why such a completely opposite spectrum of responses here? The weird part is we should understand the importance of the Sabbath. In Exodus 31 and Ezekiel 20, they both explain that Shabbat is a sign between the people who accept the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as their God, as their creator. And they understand that he is watching for that sign. And the whole thing's being heralded as the first time a world leader has actually called for a nation to observe this. But some of the religious leaders are not happy. They're like, wait. What do you mean? It says in there from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. Why not Sunday? And I'm not, if you really want to know the answer to that, read Inheriting Lies. I go into great detail in that. Some Jewish rabbis are saying, oh, no. It's only for the Jews. You can't, not everybody can. So who's right? Who's right? Well, actually, neither. And I know that sounds funny, right? That's weird, right? That's a strange answer. You're like, Jerry, what do you mean? How can neither people be right? Well, they're all right, kind of, but not totally. And stick with me here because this gets interesting. Of course, Shabbat is the seventh day, not the first day of the week. It's that simple. But it is not for everyone. Huh? Well, think about this. It's only for those who consider the creator of the universe as their God, right? For the atheists, they don't have a God other than themselves. Their God doesn't demand a day of rest. For other pagan cultures, they don't care, right? So it's not for them. They're not interested in providing a sign for some strange God that they don't recognize. So unless you consider yourself a follower of the God of Abraham, observing the Sabbath, observing Shabbat, that's kind of a moot point for you, right? And I realize not many of those folks listen to me, so they're never going to hear this anyway. But you need to understand that. If you have a friend who is an atheist and they wonder why you're taking a day of rest, because they don't, right? They don't see it as important. Well, there's a reason they don't see it as important. They have not accepted it, so they don't understand the command to rest for one day every week. But why is it only for the Jews? Why is it only for the Jews? Really? And I need to say this very carefully because I don't want what I'm about to say to be taken out of context. I have a problem with the word Jew being used to describe all of the children of Jacob. Hopefully that's clear. Jacob had 12 sons. 12 sons, not just one. Judah being among the 12. Now, they would eventually become known as the Jewish people. Don't have a problem with them at all. Don't have a problem with the word Jewish people being used to describe the remnants of the tribe. I shouldn't use the word remnant there. The descendants of Judah. Judah, along with Benjamin, made up the southern kingdom, right? The smaller northern tribes were considered the northern kingdom. And these two kingdoms are also known as the two houses of Israel. Israel being Jacob. His sons sort of divided themselves into two components. Once they got into the land, they were the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Now, near the end of King Hoshea's reign, the 10 northern tribes were conquered and they were exiled. I'm not going to go into that whole detail about why or what. The shortest version is they were just scattered across the world, right? They were exiled, taken from the land, sold into slavery, made slaves themselves, you name it. You know, what did the ancient world do with prisoners of war, right? They got rid of them. They just scattered them out. It's Ezekiel's prophecy about this that makes it clear with the two-stick prophecy. In Ezekiel 37:19, you are to tell them that this is what the Lord God says. I will take a stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel associated with him, and I will put them together with a stick of Judah. I will make them into a single stick, and they will become one in my hand. Right? Now, a lot of artist conceptions have, well, they're going to show that the sticks are twisted and intertwined, that they can't come apart. If you've ever spent a lot of time in the woods, you kind of understand what that looks like. But that's not what's being described here. It's two sticks becoming one, like you would join them together end to end, right? Think about taking two pieces of lumber and you need a longer board. Well, you just put them together end to end and you get a longer board. That's the two stick concept here. It doesn't grow together. It doesn't get nailed together or screwed together, or taped together, or glued together. They literally become one stick. And here's something that Christians have a hard time with because they don't get this. They don't go back and read. Jeremiah 16:16. But for now I will send many fishermen, declares the Lord, and I will catch them. After that, I will send many hunters, and they will hunt them down on every mountain and hill and from the clefts of the rock. They're going to search them out in the caves. Now, with Jeremiah, who's Jeremiah speaking about? the 10 tribes that were scattered to the ends of the earth. Now, who's supposed to be the one going fishing for them? Judah. So when Jesus, he's going out there and he says, look, follow me, I'll make you fishers of men. They knew exactly what he meant. What? It's time to go find our brothers? Okay, we're in for that. We'll go. But for modern Christians, they think, they don't put these verses together. They don't grasp this concept of two houses and the tribe of Judah being the one told, go look for your brothers. You have to go fishing for them. You have to go hunting for them. You got to find them. Now, obviously, this hasn't happened, right? And it couldn't happen physically for a very long time. But then I wonder, why did our Creator allow the northern tribes to sin for so long that he was going to punish them by scattering them across the world only to send somebody to find them later? Now, what I'm going to suggest, and this is for people to talk about, discuss, think about, there's more to the story than we realize. Much more. Much, much more. You see, the 10 tribes, once they're scattered out, there's something that they take with them that they can't get rid of. And that is the DNA of Abraham. They're his descendants. And now that DNA is spread throughout the generations of the people that they came into contact with and throughout their generations, right down to where we are right now today. Is it any wonder that our Creator told Abraham, you're going to have more descendants than you can count. You're going to have more descendants than the stars in the sky. You're going to have more descendants than the sand on the shoreline. That's how it happens. This is how it happens. Or it's a good possibility of how it happens. Let's put it that way. Because they were no longer isolated. They were no longer insulated. Now they're scattered throughout the world. They're intermixed, intertwined with other cultures. Did they do everything right? Probably not. Nobody does. But here is the thing. The tribe of Judah became jealous. The tribe of Judah is jealous enough to say, the Shabbat is only for the Jews. It's only for us who are the tribe of Judah. We are the pure. And they don't understand they're fulfilling prophecy. And what they really don't realize is they are fulfilling a prophecy most of them don't read. And that is, of course, the prophecy of the prodigal son. Now, Christians know this story, right? The son, a wealthy man has two sons. One says, look, Dad, I don't want to stay around here. I'm going to, if you give me what I'm due right now, don't worry about the rest of it. Give me what I'm due right now. I'll go my own way. I'll get out of your hair. And he does. And the son goes out and he parties and squanders the money, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about here. Now first century BC is a little different than 21st century AD, but it's basically the same thing, right? Let's be realistic. But the son all of a sudden realizes, what am I doing? What am I doing out here? I can't be feeding the pigs. I can't be paying the ladies of the evening, right? And he comes home. And his father welcomes him in, throws a huge party. Now the brother, right, is jealous. He's out working in the field somewhere. Somebody comes and tells you, hey, your brother's home. Your dad's throwing him a big party. I don't know how far away he was, but he was obviously quite a ways away. He comes home. He says, what are you doing? He left. I'm the one who stayed here and worked for you. I'm the one here who's taking care of things. I'm the one. Are you following where I'm going with this? What did the Father say to him? What did the Father say to him? You were always with me. And what's mine is yours. But it is fitting to be glad because this brother of yours was gone. He was dead. And now he's returned. He's alive again. He was lost, but now he's found. You didn't go look for him. I had to bring him back, through my wealth, through the things that I'm doing. And he realized that where he was not a good place for him. So he came home. And he's telling the son that stayed, he says, look, you could have had a celebration anytime you wanted. It was always available to you. All you had to do was ask. All you had to do was say, can we have a party? Yes. Yes, you could always have a party. You can always invite your friends over. But that's not what the jealous son did. He held a grudge. So Shabbat is only for the Jews because they're holding a grudge in a way. Now, they're going to tell you, we would welcome them back. Yeah, you would, as long as they were doing things your way. But your father's saying, no, I want it done my way. There's a difference. There's a difference. Now, here's a question that none of y'all are going to like. I don't care if you're Jew. I don't care if you're Christian. You're not going to like what I'm about to say next. Where in the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, where do we see our Creator throwing a huge party to welcome everyone? Glad you're here. Come on in. Revelation 19 is called the Marriage Supper of the Lamb. The similarities are worth noting. The similarities are worth noting. And I'm going to suggest to you, even though this is a very general overview, because time constraints, right? I could probably make a 2-day lesson out of this all day, but I'm not going to. I'm going to suggest you study this. I'm going to suggest you look at all of the appropriate cross-references to these verses that I've mentioned. Look them up, study them out, think about them, focus on them for a little while. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. Shabbat is for those who claim the God of Abraham as their God, right? Shabbat is the sign that our Creator is watching for, and he's saying, are you doing it or aren't you doing it? Right? It's not just for the tribe of Judah. Not just for the tribe of Judah. It's for everyone who joins with the children of Jacob to celebrate. Even though they might not understand it, even though they might not quite grasp what it means or what it is, it's there for them. It's available for them, for all of us. And maybe it's time now. Maybe the time has come. And maybe this might be the catalyst that Judah actually goes fishing for its brothers. And maybe it's time for the brothers to take the bait. See how I fit that fishing metaphor in there, right? But maybe it's time to restore the two houses. Or at least, begin the opportunity for them to come home. Maybe it's time. And maybe the catalyst is this month. This Jewish Heritage Month that we recognize. Something to think about until next time. And until then, I do wish you many, many blessings, everyone.